Hello, everyone. Good morning to everyone out there. In fact, good afternoon based on where some of you are from. So, I hope everyone's day is going great today. Thank you all for joining me for today's session. My name is Niyati, and I am a product expert with Manage Engine's IT Security Solutions team. So, today's webinar is all about threat intelligence and how you can incorporate it into your network security. So before we get into the webinar, please let us know if you're facing any audio or video issues. We have a live chat option. So at any point, you can always send us a message if you're facing any issues and we can try looking into that for you. And also for those of you wondering, we'll also be sending across a recording of today's session within a few days. So you don't have to worry about that. All right then. So today, we'll start by discussing what exactly threat intelligence is because we've seen that there is still a lot of confusion about this out there. So, I'll start off today's discussion by telling you what it is, and we'll also discuss why it matters. Following that, we look at the power of threat intelligence by looking at the various types of threats, the vast range of threats that it can help you defeat. After that, I'll explain to you what threat feeds are. So I'll explain what threat feeds are and how they are different from threat intelligence because we've also seen that there's a tendency out there for people to confuse these two concepts. So we'll create a fine distinction between these two for you today. And I'll also go on to talk about the sticks and taxi protocols and explain why they are important. And finally, we look at exactly how organizations can utilize threat intelligence efficiently to detect and respond to threats using SIEM solutions. And finally, I'll also close by explaining the various features provided by our SIEM solution, Log 360. Now, threat intelligence is a term which everyone in the security industry has at least heard of, even if they're not completely sure what exactly it is. And there are really several definitions out there. If you get onto Google right now and search for what is threat intelligence, you're going to find a lot of explanations out there. So, there are several definitions, but to me, Gartner's definition is definitely the most comprehensive one I have come across to date. So, according to Gartner, threat intelligence is evidence based knowledge and it includes context, mechanisms, indicators, implications, and actionable advice. It includes all of these things about an existing or emerging menace or hazard to assets that can be used to inform decisions regarding the subject's response to that menace or hazard. Okay, so that was a mouthful. Okay, and that's a pretty kind of long-winded explanation. So let me try breaking it down for you. So first off, it's evidence-based knowledge. The field of threat intelligence is based on a known bad approach. So this means that it's one of the more classic and yet highly efficient approaches to network security. So, threat detection basically occurs based on the knowledge that a similar threat was observed somewhere else in the world. Next, it's threat intelligence includes context, mechanisms, indicators, implications, and actionable advice. So, this long phrase here basically indicates that threat intelligence is pretty wide ranging in the types of information that it covers. There's actually a really common misconception out there that threat intelligence is just a list of bad IPs, but it's actually much more than that. It ranges from like hard facts like the specific mechanisms and indicators of attack, and it also includes more general information like advice, actionable advice on how to deal with a threat. And the next part of the definition states that threat intelligence covers existing or emerging threats. So, what this shows is that threat intelligence is quite fluid, and it keeps changing. So at any given time it specifies information about established and existing threats which we have known about for years, and it also gives you news about emerging threats. And finally, threat intelligence is used to inform decisions regarding the subject's response to a menace or hazard. This here is the actual heart of threat intelligence, and it is the ultimate aim of why everyone is interested in intelligence in the first place. So, it is to use this knowledge to better detect and respond to security incidents within your own organization. So it's a pretty broad definition. And here's another note which you'll also find in many places on the internet. Popular opinion also believes that threat intelligence also covers the various processes, policies, and tools which are designed to act on the above information. So, the question of why threat intelligence is so important is really quite simple. The types of attacks seen today are only growing in number and in size. That's a pretty known fact, right? And this means that there are millions of bad actors across the world engaged in wide-ranging malicious activities. Further, with various factors like the rising costs of data breaches, the increasing scrutiny under various compliance mandates, and whatnot, it is imperative that organizations deal with security incidents in a timely manner. As you can see here, I've displayed some statistics from 2018's Cyber Threat Intelligence Survey by the Science Institute. So you can see that 81% of the cybersecurity professionals who responded to the survey believe that adopting threat intelligence helped them improve their overall security posture. And as recently as 2 years ago, this number was at 64%. So you can see how the importance of threat intelligence is going up pretty high, pretty quickly. And also, some of the most popular uses for threat intelligence includes detecting threats, incident response, blocking threats, and threat hunting. So this basically means that threat intelligence is useful across the entire cycle of security incident handling. So this is why threat intelligence is so essential in detecting, investigating, responding to threats in a highly efficient manner. If you incorporate threat intelligence within your organization, you can reduce the time taken to deal with incidents. You improve the accuracy of detecting actual attacks, so you don't waste your time in investigating false positives. And so, if you can just take the effort to invest in building good threat intelligence capabilities, you can reduce your overall security costs and safeguard your business sensitive data from malicious actors. Let's take a look at the types of threats that threat intelligence gives us information about. So, for starters, you have information about various types of malware. For instance, ransomware. Ransomware is right up there amongst the most common attacks facing networks around the world. And every day you have a new strain or variant of ransomware that's coming out and infecting different systems, right? So if you have access to the latest threat intelligence, you would be aware of the types of attack vectors in use, and you'd be in a position to watch out for them within your own network. Next, you can get information about command and control servers, as well as the latest lists of systems around the world which are known to be part of a botnet. And there may be thousands of systems around the world which are infected in this way, and you would definitely want to avoid communications to or from such machines. So if you notice that communication is flowing to or from such infected machines, you know that something is up within your network. And phishing and spam attacks. These are pretty common attacks as well. As they get more sophisticated, a number of employees are falling prey to these attacks, however discerning they are. So it would obviously be useful to know who is involved in such scams, to know the kinds of bad actors who are involved in phishing and spam attacks, so that you can take steps to avoid any communications from these actors. So, similarly, you also can get information related to zero day threats, vulnerability exploits, or advanced persistent threats. The main point I'd like to highlight by talking about all these threats is just this: it is almost impossible to create and manage a global threat intelligence database internally for three simple reasons. One, it is simply not easy to access or source the kinds of information that you need on your own independently. It would take the effort of dedicated research teams working throughout the day to collect the mass of attack information that is occurring around the world and extract and generate valuable threat intelligence from it. So it's not easy to do this internally. And even if you do, this information is pretty vast, and you would require an enormous amount of resources just to store and manage it, which many organizations, especially those on the smaller side, simply don't have, or they just can't afford it. And also, threat intelligence, the information, it changes constantly. So any lag in updating the knowledge base would only leave your network susceptible for that much longer. So all these are reasons why you need to invest, or you need to subscribe to external threat intelligence sources. So the key questions for us at this point then are these: how is good, reliable threat intelligence accessed if we can't build such knowledge bases internally? And how can we utilize it in a manner relevant to the events happening within our own organization's boundary? This is where threat feeds enter the picture, as they are the best and most popular method today of sharing threat intelligence. And if you need to utilize this information for our networks, you must invest in a good threat intelligence solution, which retrieves reliable threat intelligence, correlates it with your network events, and delivers relevant alerts to your security team and aids in their investigation and response efforts. So, as I just told you, the most common way of sharing threat intelligence is through threat feeds. Another common method also involves the publishing of periodic high level reports, but these are more for use on a higher strategic level to make decisions for your overall network security strategy, for your deciding your network security priorities and the like. Threat feeds, on the other hand, are basically ongoing streams of data. They are accessible 24/7 and they provide you with the latest threat intelligence. These threat feeds are published by third party vendors, and the information is collected through a combination of automated and manual mechanisms, and it is then validated by dedicated research teams who add all this quality validated reliable information onto the thread feeds which they publish. So, obviously, because there is a human element involved, you would face a choice in selecting a good thread feed provider simply based on the vendor reliability. But also, thread feeds also vary in various other ways as well. So some thread feeds cover specific types of threads, and there are other vendors who provide specific industry focused thread feeds. So there are some who dedicated provide dedicated thread feeds for the healthcare industry, say, or the IT industry. So you have thread feeds which vary by the industry as well, and also the degree of information provided for each thread. Does it only give you does it only give you the IP address of bad actors, or does it also tell you what methods they use? Does it tell you um, which region they originate from? So all of these are factors based on which thread feeds vary. So if you are looking to subscribe to a thread feed directly, these are the kinds of factors that you will have to consider. And of course, some are free and open source and easily available on the internet, and there are also some which are paid subscription services. Next, let's talk about sticks and taxi. Now that we know that there are various types of thread feeds, the next issue which crops up is what format are these thread feeds in? It's pretty safe to assume that with multiple vendors, multiple types of feeds, there's also going to be multiple formats. But here's the thing, at its heart, threat intelligence is a global collaborative effort to build a standard threat intelligence knowledge base to make threat detection resolution much quicker and more efficient in organizations around the world. Okay, but um, anyway, so let's just look at this. Sticks and taxi are basically standardized formats which they provide standard formats to share threat intelligence in. So sticks, as you can see, is structured threat information expression, and it represents how threat intelligence can be expressed. And taxi is a communication protocol. It represents how the information is shared. So by using these protocols, you can make the field of threat intelligence becomes much more unified, and all of the reliable prominent threat feeds out there use these protocols, and that's why we need to pay attention to them. So now we have spoken about threat intelligence, we have spoken about threat feeds, and we have seen how these two are different. Threat feeds are essentially just one method of sharing threat intelligence. So it's time to think from a practical implementation perspective. You need to select a good solution that leverages the latest threat intelligence and helps you detect, analyze, and respond to threats. That's why we need to be aware of how to select a good threat intelligence solution. There are various threat intelligence solutions on the market, and some are exclusive solutions which are meant purely to deal with threat intelligence alone. But there are also other types of more comprehensive solutions, like SIM solutions, which offer a variety of capabilities, including threat intelligence. So that's the first choice you have to make, whether you'd like an exclusive one or something that's a little more comprehensive. Apart from that, you'll also have to look at all these factors I've listed here on the screen. There are, of course, the usual factors like the cost, the ease of deploying a solution, the architecture and resource requirements, and the like. And also, you'll have to look at the range and variety of threat intelligence sources covered by the solution. So, you'll have to look at whether it allows you to add custom feeds. Let's say you subscribe to a feed on your own. The solution should allow you to add this in and integrate it within your network. You should look at the reliability of those sources, and you need to look at various kinds of collaborations and integrations offered by the solution. And of course, threat intelligence isn't just about giving you alerts. It's not just about correlating something with your network events and then giving you an alert, but it should also take you beyond that. It should allow you to investigate the various alerts that you receive, validate which ones are true or false. It should allow you to track them, and it should also facilitate your incident response. So these are all the features offered by SIM solutions today. SIM solutions don't only give you threat alerts, but they also allow you to conduct forensic investigations into the various threats that have been detected. It allows you to validate these threats with other network events using event correlation. It allows you to ensure accountability in the incident handling process with incident management, and it also allows you to kind of deploy and manage effective incident response measures. So we'll talk quickly about each of these things. I'll speak about investigation and response together. Obviously, full blown response measures can only be started once you finish an investigation and confirm that an attack is in progress. However, there are always safety measures that you can take to ensure that your network stays protected even during an investigation. So, for instance, you can automate common response measures like blocking a bad IP address or shutting down any system which is affected. Let's say a threat is detected on a pretty critical system, you can immediately shut down the system automatically, and you can probably get a backup system up and running. So this allows you to ensure business continuity, but it also allows you to isolate a threat in case there is one. And you can also conduct a thorough forensic investigation, and it allows you to trace you should be able to trace an attacker's path through your network. So you can search through all the logs in your network, and you can review all the activity that has happened on the possibly affected systems and user accounts. Another useful feature of SIM solutions is their ability to detect suspicious activity patterns by correlating network events from various devices. Sometimes you may want to ensure that a malicious actor is actually engaged in some suspicious activity before you launch any response measures. So even correlation comes in useful here. It can detect possible attack patterns which are carried out by these known malicious actors. This even helps you prioritize security incidents. So you may be getting several threat feed alerts, but this, if you use even correlation, it helps you prioritize these security incidents and figure out which ones you need to pay attention to first. And finally, SIM solutions help you ensure accountability. So once your solution detects a threat, you need to employ several measures to deal with them. So I'll be listing the various things you need to be doing to ensure that threats are dealt with efficiently. To start off, you need a proper documented approach to dealing with threats. You need a neat, clean way of resolving them and ensuring accountability throughout that resolution process. So what do you do, what can you do to achieve something like this? So as you can see, you need to whenever there's a security incident that's detected, you need to assign responsibility for that incident to a designated user or analyst. You need to be able to track the progress of that incident throughout the investigation and response process. And also you need to maintain reports of all the past incidents so that you can easily go back and refer to them if needed. You can go back and refer to them and find out who handled it in the past, so that you can immediately ask them if you need any information, or you can also look up what they did to resolve the incidents in the past. So you can easily share information this way and cut down a lot on incident resolution times. So, a ticketing system is ideal to carry out all these things, and these ticketing features can be available either built into your SIM solution or through integrations with third party tools. So, I'll just talk to you a little bit about Log 360 and its various threat intelligence features. So, you can see here the flow of how it works. So basically, Log 360 collects information from pretty reliable sticks and taxi based thread feeds out there. It stores all this information on our own. We store all this information on a cloud server, and it's retrieved dynamically every single day. So you can always be assured that you have access to the latest threat information. And of course, Log 360 collects all your network logs. It correlates these your network events with the threat feed information, and it raises an alert if any malicious actors are recognized on your network. So you can see here the various features that Log 360 provides. It gives you automatic access to reliable threat information. If you aren't already subscribed to any threat feeds, you don't have to worry because Log 360 retrieves information from pretty prominent open source feeds, and these are really reliable as well. So you can be assured that you have access to really good threat information, and you don't even need to configure anything on the product. So the second you start monitoring events on your network, Log 360 automatically starts checking it with the threat feeds. And of course, if you do have subscriptions to specialized sticks and taxi threat feeds for your industry, for your company, or specific types of threats, you can always add them easily into the solution so that you can include this within your network monitoring as well. And of course, it allows you to build custom correlation rules to check for malicious actors and also check for the kinds of activity that they may be involved in. And Log 360 also allows you to ensure accountability. We'll be looking at this in a few minutes. It provides you with a built in ticketing console as well as forward incident information to any external help desk software if you are using any. And of course, it facilitates incident investigation. Log 360 allows you to search through millions of your network logs. It allows you to investigate all affected systems and users and confirm if any attack is ongoing or has occurred so that you can immediately launch response measures. And of course, on the incident response side, you can create custom scripts. Like I said, you can create scripts for blocking bad IPs or shutting down systems, shutting down affected systems, and you can add these custom scripts to be launched anytime a threat is detected. So very quickly, I'll just show you. I mean, I've just spoken about this so far, but I'll also quickly show you how this works. This is Event Log Analyzer, which is one of the components of Log 360 and provides all the threat and intelligence features that I just spoke about. So to start off, I'll show you where you can check information about malicious actors detected on your network. Of course, you'll be getting SMS or email notifications, but if you'd like to look at them on the product, it's available under the default threat profile. So you can see here how you have information about the various malicious IPs or other entities detected on your network, and you can easily go through this and find out any additional information such as the device on which these malicious IPs were detected and the like. So next, I'll also tell you how Log 360 and the Event Log Analyzer component provides you with a lot of log forensics features. So let's say you want to investigate a specific alert, a specific security incident. So you can see that the malicious IP over here is this. I'll just quickly copy that. So if you want to search through your network logs and find out all the places where this specific IP has hit, you can just launch a quick search. You can see that the search feature provides you with several options. You can set a date range for your search. You can set specific devices on which you'd like to search. If you don't have any specific devices, if you'd like to search through all your devices and all log types, you can just leave it as is. And you can probably say, so you can see that there are, as you type, you have suggestions that come up. So it just really makes the entire process pretty easy for you. That's the malicious IP that I just copied. So in this example, you can see that there is just one single instance where the IP interacted with my network and it has been blocked. So this incident can be quickly closed. But if your firewalls allowed such an IP address to pass into your network, you can also find all logs related to this IP address and find out which devices it has hit, and you can easily conduct a thorough, detailed investigation through all your millions of network logs and easily find out where this IP has interacted with your network. And of course, once you do conduct your search, you can also save the search report, or you can even save it as an alert so that next time this specific IP address is seen, you can immediately get to know about it through a notification. And of course, if you'd like to present this analysis to anyone in the organization, you can always export the report in either PDF or CSV format. So basically, it facilitates your incident investigation. And also, this is also useful for proving compliance. So several compliance policies require that you are always on top of security incidents in your network. So if you have all of these reports saved somewhere in your system, you can always prove compliance with various compliance mandates. You can also, some compliance policies also require that you need to inform all important stakeholders about a specific security incident. So if you realize that an attack has occurred on your network, you can also make use of these reports to inform all the concerned people about an attack which has occurred. So this is how Log 360 facilitates your incident investigation and allows you to stay compliant with various policies as well. Next, let's talk about correlation. So I already explained to you how correlation is used to sort of expand the scope of threat intelligence. It also allows you to check whether a specific malicious actor has engaged in any other activity throughout your network. So you only get an alert if a malicious IP is known to have engaged in a series of specific suspicious activities. So I'll just quickly show you how that works. So over here, this is the correlation module of the product. So let's take the example of the suspicious software installation. So this predefined rule basically checks for a specific hacker who's trying to externally hack into your network and try and install malware on your Windows systems. So I'll show you how this rule works. This rule essentially checks for a hacker who's trying to remotely log on to your network. So it checks for a brute force hack onto your through your network's VPN, and also following that, you can see that it checks for multiple failed logons through a VPN, followed by a successful logon, and finally the pattern ends with that specific user or IP address logging onto your Windows network and installing software, which could very likely be malware or something that is really something that you don't want on your network. So let's say I want to add another condition to this rule. So I also want to know that I only want an alert for this rule when I know that the IP address involved is is known to be a malicious one. So I can always add a condition and state that the remote IP address involved in this incident is malicious. So when you do this, you only get an alert for this rule when you know that the IP address involved is malicious, and this information is retrieved from the threat feeds. So you can see how dynamic this is. It you only you get to know when a malicious entity enters your network, and Log 360 is able to check that it goes through this entire series of actions, and when this entire you know activity pattern is recognized, you get an alert. So in this way, as I said, correlation helps you get highly relevant alerts, and it also helps you prioritize the security incidents within your network. And finally, I'll talk to you about the incident management features. So as I already told you, Log 360 allows you to um, deal with security incidents using its own built-in ticketing features, or it allows you to forward incident information to any external help desk software. So quickly I'll show you what features are provided internally. So you can see that these are the various incidents that have been identified, and you can assign responsibility for an incident to any specific user or analyst within your network. And of course, once it is assigned, that specific user can um, update the status of the incident. So as an administrator, you're always on top of what is happening with the investigation and response process of that specific incident. So you don't even have to constantly exchange a bunch of emails or go up to the person. You can always just keep tracking it using this dashboard over here. So you're able to track a security incident through and through. And of course, you don't even have to manually assign them. You can even create rules to automatically assign these incidents to a specific user. And of course, as I said, you can also forward incident information to several external help desk software. You can see the list of help desk software that we support as of now. So you can always configure these and easily forward any security incident information to your external help desk software. So that's about it for today's webinar and presentation. If you have any questions for me, you can always ask me using the live chat option. So let me know anything you'd like to know. If you think I missed out anything, just let us know using the live chat option, and we'll be happy to take any questions right now.